I'm the president of the NAACP Bremerton branch. And again, just want to thank everyone for being here today. And I want to recognize all of our dignitaries in the room. Mayor Wheeler. How about a round of applause for Mayor? You give yourself a round of applause for being here today. I know it's cold outside here, so I appreciate you being here. And I also want to thank Mr. Marwan Cameron for broadcasting this event. He's always reliable for to reach out to him. Ms. Ruth Francis Jones, she is our singer who I reach out to her before I do anybody else when it comes to singing for our events. Always love to see her lovely voice. So again, this is our 2024 Mission Outreach Program. We have a great program put on for you today. We have several different speakers. There are some programs that are out front. I don't know if anybody grabbed one, but there are some programs out front if you want to grab a program. Our NAACP, Bremerton, Unit 1134 branch, we represent Jefferson, Mason, Kitsap County. Right now, we only have one office that represents all of those counties. We're reaching out to some of our area conferences to see if they can help us to maybe expand that and have at least another office, maybe up in the Paulsville area or Mason County. So we'll see how that works out. And for those of you who don't know, the NAACP is open for all to join. And our mission statement for the NAACP is to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies and practices that expand human and civil rights, eliminate discrimination, and accelerate the well-being, education, and economic security of Black people and all persons of color. So that is our mission statement. So with that being said, we're going to move right on into the program. I hope that you enjoyed the refreshments downstairs, and feel free, throughout the program, if you want to go down and grab yourself something, feel free, just no items in the sanctuary. So again, I am your master of ceremonies, and we were going to have Pastor Frankie Colton come up and give us an indication.
My name is Pastor Frankie Colton, pastor of St. Clair Church. So we're glad that you're here. I'm asking that you would just bow your head in a moment of prayer. Eternal God, our Father, we're grateful and thankful again for your great love and mercy for us, that we're not consumed, because your compassions fail not. They are new every morning, and great is your faithfulness. Thank you, Lord, for this day. And of course, we thank you for all of those who have come today. Pray that you will strengthen us, give us knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And continue to pray for the NAACP, our president, Brother Robert. We pray, Lord, that you will lead us. Let us be an extension of your hands to do the work. And yes, the word said that whatever our hands find to do, we can do it with all of our might. Pray that you will give us more people to serve. Help us to be found faithful doing the work and not just talking about the work. Thank you for all things. Bless us on this day. Bless this Mission Day program. Help us to be able to reach out and connect with those in our community as we gather together to give you glory and honor. We love you and thank you today. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Coleman. And just FYI, if you're not a member of the NAACP, I'd like to invite you to pick up a flyer outside or go outside. There's information on how to join the NAACP. Again, it is open to all. So we definitely appreciate that. Next, we're going to have Minister Ruth Francis Jones, and she's going to be singing the Negro National Anthem. Yes, indeed.
Can you stand? What I want y'all to get used to is that when you hear that Negro National Anthem, you'll automatically get up. I want y'all to get used to it. Automatically. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Bring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you, Ms. Ruth. Next, we are going to have opening remarks by our NAACP VP, Mr. Shannon Turner.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Turner, and I'm the current Vice President of the NAACP Chapter 1134. I want to thank you for attending today's Unity is Community event. I would like to say a special thank you to those who put this amazing event together and for our hosts at Sinclair Missionary Baptist Church. I'm proud to be here with all of you today as we head into a new year that is also an election year. So this year's event is both needed and timely, given what took place between the years of 2016 to 2020. So this year, the definition of unity is defined as the state of being united or joined as a whole. Another definition from artistic content says the state of forming a complete and pleasing whole. An example of that is harmony, accord, and cooperation. It states a thin forming a whole. This means oneness and singleness. Vocabulary.com says that unity is an undivided or unbroken completeness. This is what we have here in Bremerton and inside this building today. I mean, just look around and take in who is here and what that means as a whole. Look who's here. It's important. Know, understand. This is our community, united and coming together as one strong voice and entity to show strength and resilience as we move forward in 2024. This collective will stand together in unity to lift our voices in protest or to march so that we can be recognized and dealt with as one solid collective group. Our community doesn't care about race, gender, religion, social, economic background, or anything else that may separate one another. We care about coming together to support each other. During rough times and critical city and county moments that need to be acknowledged and dealt with. So when you combine the words, unity is community, they become one powerful entity, like this group I see before me. Unity is community is us, this community, coming together, putting aside our differences so that our district becomes stronger. This allows our families, friends, jobs, and schools to benefit highly as we unite together and stand together as one strong, solid, powerful entity to be recognized and heard. Now, I understand this is a day to celebrate because of so many special occasions that have taken place in the world and our own American history, such as Congress in 1807, abolishing the African slave trade, and 15-year-old Claudette Calvin in 1955 refusing to give up her seat on a segregated bus. These are notable events that have allowed us to be here today, in this moment, and at this time. So let's take the day in and really listen to what our speakers are saying so that we can draw strength from it and use it to continue to give us the inspiration to stand in solidarity as a powerful community. I hope we can all walk away today and think about how we can continue to stand arm in arm with each other, just as John Lewis did that day on the bridge, and continue to march forward in solidarity with one another to show just how powerful unity and community can be. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Next, we're going to have some community union remarks, and I will be doing those. Greeting community members. Unity is community. Why do I say that? In a community, unity plays a crucial role in fostering a sense of belonging, mutual support, and a shared responsibility. Today, I would like to share several elements of unity is community. Support and safety. A unified community provides a safety net for its community. When we come together, we can rely on one another during those tough times, share burdens, and collectively overcome adversity. Improve quality of life. Unity strengthens social bonds and fosters a sense of well-being. When community members work together, we create an environment where everyone's needs are considered, leading to an improved quality of life for all. Embracing diversity. A united community embraces diversity. By recognizing and celebrating differences, we become more inclusive, open-minded. This acceptance of various backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives enriches our community experience. Collective problem solving. And that's a big one. You know, it takes a community to solve problems. And you just really can't put a problem from different perspectives from that you may have never had a conversation with. Preserving culture, another huge. Unity allows communities to preserve their unique cultural heritage. By working together, we can pass down traditions, stories, and customs to future generations, ensuring continuity and identity. Cultural enrichment. Cultural enrichment fosters appreciation, understanding, and preservation of diverse cultural practices, traditions, and heritage within a society. It involves the exchange of ideas, values, arts, and customs that contribute to the growth and development of a vibrant, inclusive community. This is my hope and dream for Bremerton and our surrounding communities. As we unify, we provide inspiration for future generations as we pass them the torch to continue to fight for equity and equality. Carrying bricks from the past cannot pave new roads of life and prosperity for you. I challenge you as community members to let go and forgive those past issues holding you back from greatness, from unity and prosperity. The great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, almost always the creative, dedicated minority has made the world better. I truly believe this statement is a fact. Ask yourself, what have you done to make a difference? What have you done to address equity and equality? What have you done to improve not only your life, but the lives of those around you? What have you done to make our community better for all? If you have not done anything, have done any of these things, ask yourself, why not? We're always stronger together. Unity is key. Thank you. So we're gonna take a quick chair. Mr. Shannon Turner is gonna take over at Master Ceremonies while I take over another duty.
Yeah, we switch. Okay, so now we will go to the state of the city of Bremerton, and we'll have Mayor Wheeler come up, who, I've known the mayor, wow, I don't even know, it's been that long, and I support him, but he truly does love the community. He does his best to represent and stand up and be that voice and to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table. He takes that extra minute to include. No one's perfect, but he does the best that he possibly can. And I mean, to me, that says a lot. That really says a lot, because you really don't have a whole lot of other figures that will come out and step out and go to places where they may not even be supposed to be in, but he's there. He understands. He shows up and he wants to do the best he can to ensure that our voices are heard and that we have a seat at the table. So with that, our mayor, Fred Wood.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I just want to thank Pastor Coleman, Sinclair Missionary Baptist Church, for hosting this today. Thank you. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the wonderful invitation. It is a pleasure to be here with each and every one of you. Our city is stronger due to the work that the NAACP does in our region. We appreciate your commitment and contributions to our community, and we value the partnership we have. Now, I'd like to spend a few minutes sharing some of the work the city of Bremerton has been doing and the services and programs we are supporting in our community. Every year, I create new mayor's initiatives for the city, which I have been doing since my first year in office in 2018. They are a roadmap for the year for us. And our goals are focused on increasing access to opportunity and enhancing quality of life for our residents. My initiatives for 2024 outline goals for public safety, affordable housing, access to health care, parks, business development support, among many other things. This year's initiatives will guide our efforts and will support services for our residents and continue projects that have already been underway to advance our city. As one example, this year we are continuing to fund a program to provide eviction assistance to help working, low-income Bremerton residents as well as seniors through our Bremerton Rental Assistance Program. And we are also supporting a weatherization program that reduces utility costs for vulnerable citizens. In addition, this year we have partnered on a new pilot housing navigator program at the Bremerton Housing Authority that will provide resources and support for housing searches and security deposit assistance. We will also continue to partner with agencies who are working on affordable housing projects within our community. Last year alone, several affordable housing projects were supported by the city, including $500,000 for the purchase of Mills Crossing in East Bremerton, and over $1 million to help with construction and infrastructure costs for the Manette Townhome project. We also remain committed to addressing addiction and mental health issues in our community. This year, we are continuing to support a mobile medical and addiction treatment clinic we call the Batmobile for those that can't afford health care. And we are also continuing to deliver behavioral health assistance to those facing mental health crisis. Additionally, we are supporting efforts to expand capacity and access to health care. We are continuing to work in partnership with St. Michael Medical Center on their freestanding emergency room in Bremerton. And we have been parts of efforts to assess healthcare needs so we can identify improvements to help our diverse residents. Just last week, I attended a briefing at the Marvin Williams Center on the More in Common Alliance, a partnership between the Morehouse School of Medicine in Virginia Mason, and Common Spirit Health, which was created to diversify the healthcare workforce and is focused on advancement of health equity. We look forward to exploring opportunities to partner with them to support this important effort. One of my ongoing priorities is to continue increasing access to opportunity, which includes the formation and ownership of small businesses in our community. As part of that goal, we have been developing and providing funding to the Kitsap Small Business Development Center, which offers free business consulting and coaching. The Kitsap SBDC is committed to being an inclusive service provider for our community and focused on helping entrepreneurs overcome structural barriers to success. We have also made investments in Kitsap Community Resources BEST program to help support entrepreneurship. This program is a low-fee training program that provides tools on starting and growing a small business. A new update for you is we are continuing to advance the city's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. We will be working with the City Council to approve a city DEI position, job description, and a recruitment plan. My understanding is the council will be taking this work up at the next study session on March 13th. And I support the City Council prioritizing this effort. I remain committed to increasing access to opportunities and enhancing quality of life across our diverse community. These are just a few of the projects we'll be working on in 2024. We will be working hard on the entire list of projects outlined in my 2024 initiatives to move our city forward. If you'd like to see everything in the 2024 initiatives, you can find it on our city's website or by checking out our city's Facebook page. Thank you for the opportunity to share what we are working on and inviting me to be a part of today's program. It is my honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. I'm not used to this MC thing.
Doing good.
I'm trying. Next, we have Ms. Dee Williams from Kitsap Strong. There you are. I seen her earlier this morning. And I will say that I know Kitsap Strong, and I know of them. And this organization is truly community, and it's truly, our kids. I can't even say enough. Baseline, y'all hold it down. I'm not even gonna lie about that. With the information that you provide and the guidance and the understanding, it's so vital, especially now, more than ever. So thank you. And with that, be with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to be before you to present Kitsap Strong to those who are not familiar with what we do, and also introduce myself as the newest member of the Kitsap Strong backbone team. And as Shannon stated, we are really about our kids and changing cultures. And for many of you know me, so you can go to the next slide if you don't mind. One thing about the work at Kitsap Strong is we're relational. So the best way to work with people and to strengthen our community is get to know everyone. So I'm not gonna talk about myself too much, but just a little blurb, Dee Williams. Those who have known me for years know my name is DeAndrea, but I like to keep things simple and make it easy for people, so I'm comfortable with Dee. I grew up between here in Louisiana, literally back and forth. And I think that helped me be a more relational person because I'm very comfortable, with a lot of different cultures, people, the South, the North, where some people can go to the South and it's a complete culture shock. And then some people can come here and it's vice versa. So, and that has helped me, I think, in this position and being connected to the community. My family instilled in me the importance of giving back. Many of you may know my parents. They had worked in this community for a long time before relocating to Texas. In Louisiana, my grandfather was a police juror. If anybody's from the South, they know that the parishes, they don't have counties in Louisiana. It's police jurors. He was that. He was a city council person. So being active in your community and serving was always important to us. I am switching over to make that giving back a career change because I've been in the housing industry. Some of you know me from Bremerton Housing Authority. Some of you know me from the mortgage industry. Some people know me from being on boards at YWCA. Some people I've sat on boards with. So I've been around. I'm a people person. I care about people. I want to give back. I've been kind of a quiet person for years. You all may start to hear me a lot more than ask me to be quiet, but I'm here now. And in my spare time, I love to read. As Shannon mentioned today, you've seen me at Doc's event, one block, one book, or one block, many books. And that's an awesome event because we need to get our kids reading more. Social media, TV. Growing up, I didn't have 100 channels. So I was reading. So now reading is something that I still enjoy. It's kind of like my relaxing. The gym, that's my way of dealing with stress. And my family. This picture up here is dated. All those kids are adults. And a couple of them have kids. But because I love them still, but during this time, it was amazing. So that's the picture that I have there. So that's a little bit about me and how I'm connected to Kitsap County. What I do here in Kitsap County is I do community resilience initiative trauma-informed training. And as I mentioned, I'm new in the role. So for the last 30 some odd days, I've received like 3 certifications. And I've been working on bringing this information to the community. I'm not sure if many are aware of the neurosciences, which is neuroscience, epigenetics, adverse childhood experience, and resilience. And that's just brain study is neurodevelopment, or neuroscience as many say. Epigenetics, how our culture and our environment can affect our DNA. So like how trauma can show up in our body and affect our health and affect our mental health, things like that. ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. Whether we think so or not, many of us have experienced them. It can be something very traumatic or it could be something small, but it affects you in a negative way. And you know how we have the term that's going around now, triggered? And someone will say something or do something. It can be something as simple as a scent or a smell or a song and you're triggered. There could be a traumatic experience attached to that. So what we do is we train people on identifying those things and building the resilience to handle them. Because emotions happen, we can't really control them, but how we respond to them is really important. And that's taught because we don't, it's taught and it's modeled in front of us. So sometimes if we came from an environment that didn't model how to respond to certain things well, we repeat responding to them in an inappropriate manner. And a couple other things that fall under there is beneath behavior, the critical transition from knowledge to insight, that's knowing and then learning. That's again, that learning how to respond. And roles, which is recognize, observe, label, elect, and solve. The quick way to say that is basically, again, acknowledge the problem, study it to gain more insight, give it a name, learn how to work with it, and then work towards solving it. So that is a bit of what I do. Another part of that, I'm a bridge builder, I would say. Let me slow down. Building relationships with the community. and connecting them to our systems. That's why the title is called Systems of Care Manager. And our systems would be our first responders, our schools, teachers, our police department, our firefighters, making sure that everyone that is in connection with our children are responding to them in a positive way. Taking the time to understand that behavior is a communication, and that behavior that they're displaying is saying something. And sometimes, and I understand, I was just talking to someone about this earlier, our teachers have large classrooms, and we understand that they're faced with challenges as well. They may have things that kids come in and trigger them to something that a kid did last year, and that throws it off, and it's just like, get out of my classroom. So we train the teachers as well to recognize those things in themselves. So settled adults have settled children in the room. But it's kind of like, we want to make sure that our kids are treated as people and understand that they too could be having a bad day. And that we handle them with a little more compassion. And it's not just being bad or seeking attention. Something could have happened that has them a little off that day. Kind of like if I'm in traffic and somebody cuts me off. Then when I get to work, I won't talk to nobody in the office because I'm still mad. Because now I'm late and then I spilled my coffee. All kinds of things. Kids have those things happen. And they're often much deeper than what I just explained happened to me. And look how that can throw me out. So we just want to be a more caring, connected community. If you go to the next slide, one of the main components of my position is handled with care. And I know Dr. Crawford's familiar with it because Bremerton School District partners with us and works with us, where it's, the simple way to state it is that the police department or the fire department, if they're issued out to a home and there's a call at that home and they notice a child, they just may ask the child's name, and based on the address and the district or area that they're in, they will send a brief notification out to the school to let them know we responded to something at the home to handle this child with care. Now, they don't give information because, of course, there's laws and can't tell everything that happened. They just let them know if this child is displaying anything in the classroom, handle them with a little care. And then excuse me, I thought I saw a hand raised, I'm sorry. And that's all that is. Now, that information, we track it, but of course, we too can't get many details into what's going on. Now, the shaded part down here that I haven't really, I'm not showing, we're not in that page yet. And what we're trying to do is find ways to follow through with that and to make sure that if it's something that's truly traumatic, that not the kids have mental health, I'm sorry, the school's mental health team is working with that child and that the child is getting additional resources that they need. But right now we're 1 year into the program. So we just want to make sure that we set, how can I say it? We just want them to get familiar with doing it in each school district. And we go as far as Bridge Island to North Mason. So we're keeping up with all of this, schools and what they're doing. And we get a monthly report, how it's handled with care, working with you. Then I meet with them individually to see if there's anything that we can do to support. You can go to the next one. So our overall agenda at KidsUp Strong is to improve the well-being and educational attainment of KidsUp residents through a focus on empowerment and equity, the prevention of adverse childhood experiences, and the building of resilience. Because again, how to handle things that have happened to us, emotions that may bring, they're often taught. Our team, if you go to the last slide, we are led by Kristen O'Rourke, who many people know the face in the community because she shows up at a lot of things. Victoria is our parent voice. She's in communication with the parents a lot. Promise is our student voice, and we're working on expanding that a little bit more broad so we reach all students. And again, I'm the systems voice. I'm working to bridge the relationships and open the communication to build a stronger community. So that is pretty much what we do and who we are. And our information, if you want to know more, for those who can see the QR code, that'll take you right to our website. Other than that, it's kidsupstrong.org. And then my information was on the previous slide, but I also have that if anyone wants it. Like I said, we do trainings in the community to entrain people what trauma looks like and what it can be. All righty, thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Okay, moving on. You know, this next introduction, I would say, is something that has been missing in this area for a long time. What this person has done is amazing. She has really stepped into the scene and stepped up to make sure that our kids, our Black kids, have a voice to be recognized. She has taken upon and taken this to a level where it's just going to keep going. She is an amazing person. She knocks down barriers. She recognizes them and calls them out. She shows up. She provides our kids with the strong leadership, the knowledge, and the background to ensure that they're supported, that they're going in the right direction. And so with that, the Kids at Black Student Union, Ms. Joel Shepard-Sampson.
Wow, that was a nice introduction. Thank you so much. So, welcome. For those who don't know me, I am Joel Shepard-Sampson, founder and director of Kids at Black Student Union, and I have a couple of my members. We have switched to interchangeably saying students and members because not all of our members are students currently, and they will get a chance to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their experience. Excuse me. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a background of who we are. So we are Kids at Black Student Union. We were founded in July 2022. And there are some statistics that if you've never sat in the room and heard us kind of talk about ourselves, we're the first Black student union that is county-wide and starts at middle school. We are the only Black student union, and I'm saying across our nation, we're the only Black student union that became a nonprofit. And that was important because we felt like we'd be able to better serve our students and members with better resources if we were a business, because people forget that nonprofits are businesses. So since the last time we were here last year, we've been working on a few things. I'm just gonna go down the list of events that we've had. We had the annual Black graduation for class of 2023. We had 25 graduates last year. The countywide multicultural fair, which was held at Olympic College. Welcome to your future with Kids at Black Student Union, which is a partnership with Kids Up Strong. We had Kids Up Education of Color Conference at Olympic College. We had Textured with Kids at Black Student Union. We also had a welcome partnership with the More in Common Alliance as well. We did a play. It was called The Colored Museum. Our students made the front page of the newspaper. That was a collaboration with Bainbridge Island Museum of Art and Central Kitsap Performing Arts Center. We had Advocacy Day with Civil Survival and the ACLU of Washington. Our students were able to speak with representatives about different House bills that they were concerned about. We added a chapter at Fairview Middle School. We put on a Black History project at Olympic College called Bridging the Ancestral Gap. And we had a exhibit. We'll post the pictures. We haven't posted them yet. But it was the Pioneers of Kitsap, which was pretty special to me. We also chartered a chapter of Kitsap Black Student Union at Olympic College as of February 22nd. So that was just a couple days ago. I'm almost done. We won some awards. Champion of Justice 2023, the BECU People Helping People Award, And that one was the Black Community Development Award. And then if you have not heard, we also are being awarded the Washington State African American Achievement Award for Community Impact for 2024. So we're pretty busy. So anytime that we have events, we always want to have our students. We always want to make sure that our students and members have an opportunity to lead. After all, we are a leadership program. So I am going to hand the mic to James first, so he can introduce himself. They were going back and forth about who's going to go first, so.
How y'all doing? Just get my book over real quick. All right. Hello, my name is James Weaver. I'm 19 years old and I'm the peer mentor at Kids at Black Student Union. I actually just moved to Washington 4 months ago, but in my short time of being here with KBSU, I can describe it as nothing less of inspirational and motivating. In all honesty, before meeting Ms. Jewell and joining KBSU, I had no real sense of direction, even knowing what I wanted to do for myself. And that can be hard for a young Black man living in America. However, in these 4 short months, I've come out with a job opportunity that I never thought I'd be able to gain on my own. And now I'm going on to take my associate's degree. Since I've joined KBSU, I've been taught leadership qualities and gracefully been given knowledge on how to navigate this crazy world we live in. I was sitting and ask myself, why would someone put so much effort? Why would someone care so much? Simple answer I've come to, why not? KBSU is more than just your average BSU. We're a family, and a home to the homes that don't feel like home. Everyone has everyone's best interest, and we never settle for less. In this day and age, Black men ages 18 to 24 that die or get arrested. I like to count myself as one of the lucky ones. KBSU focuses on diversity and consistency, and to prove to anyone that no matter what situations you're in, or how crummy your life may be, there's always a way. Look at me, I'm living proof. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rory Mansky. I'm currently a sophomore in high school. I go to CKHS. I've been a member of Kids at Black Student Union for almost a year now. It'll be year round this month, maybe April. Before I joined Kids at Black Student Union, I was still trying to figure myself out. I had just moved to the Bremerton area. I'm from Washington, but I was still trying to figure out school and what it was like out here. A friend of mine introduced me to Miss Jewell, and ever since then I've been a member. And I have to say, Kids at Black Student Union has been one of the greatest programs I've been a part of. Not only do I get a chance to hang out with people who actually care about what I say and are actually great people, but I also have somebody who's like an auntie to me. She is. I have somebody who's like an auntie to me. And not only does she give me a chance to have my voice feel heard, to professional people, to legislators, to teachers, to my district, to a vast variety of people, but to each other. And I feel like genuinely right now what we have going on is one of the greatest things that Bremerton, such a small town, could have. Because not many people have an opportunity to have the kind of place that we have, not the community that we have. And I'm forever grateful for all opportunities I've gotten. I've had my voice it's felt like it's been heard, and I genuinely enjoy everything that we get to do. And I'm so glad that I get to be part of the Kids at Black Student Union.
They're gonna make me cry, and this one is really gonna make me cry. So I did not prompt them to write these. I just said, hey, there's a speaking opportunity. Because with all of our members, we always want to give them the opportunity to have their voices heard, whether it's just 2 people in the room or 20 or 100. When they went to the advocacy day, they were able to speak to legislators about the bills that they were concerned about. And it was kind of interesting because they actually told on some schools too. And we're still working on that political piece. But the students were excited to see their faces in Tara Simmons' newsletter later. And so, being able to introduce them to people and have their voices heard, but also show the accomplishments that come out on the other end are rewarding. So I know that do we have time to let people ask questions? A couple questions? So we can do a couple questions first. Does anyone have a question?
I just wanted to say, sorry. My name is Jasmine Remick. I'm from the Office of Equity with the Governor's Office, and I just wanted to say what a lovely program that has been created to give the opportunity for young people to talk and all those leadership qualities and skills. You might not know it. My oldest son is 19 years old, so it really resonated with me. And just knowing that you're doing the work now is going to pay off in the future. So congratulations to you for what you're doing. Keep up the good work. And I just learned of your program, and I can't wait to hear more, see more, do more.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay. I can see that.
Mr. Harris. I'm moving back, I'm running back here. How can community members get in touch with you, and how can we better support your program?
Oh, good questions, because I have that right here. So, we do have some upcoming events where we will be kind of highlighted here and there. Our members do a lot of community service. So we'll be at the youth rally on March 19th. There's a parenting series coming up, so stay tuned. We did a textured hair series in December in Bainbridge, so it will be in Kitsap County, in Bremerton this time within the next month. Our students are also working on a project with the Substance Abuse Coalition for Kitsap County. It is an anti-drug campaign, and we'll see some flyers for that as well. And there's a project called Just Breathe with Kitsap Black Student Union, where we'll be introducing our students to gardening and nature and all of the things necessary to unwind. Everybody knows that I work too much, and so I'm trying to also listen to my own advice. And some of the things that I picked up during COVID actually was being able to garden and grow your own food and, be one with nature is actually very relaxing. We have a literacy movement as well coming up. This week was a project called Black Children's Book Week. And so we were participating with that. We do a lot of things through the internet and online. We don't want to just be Kitsap, known just in Kitsap, because our students, they graduate and they go all over the nation. We have some international students as well. But so we can be reached. Our website is kitsapblackstudentunion.org. And email address is kitsapbsu@hotmail.com. My phone number is posted everywhere, 360-990-3372. If you want to sign up as a member, so if you have students that want to sign up, our program is middle school through college. Or if you want to volunteer, you can also sign up on the website as well. I think we covered everything. Oh, I would say also to Mr. Harris's point, how to better support us. So come out to the events, volunteer, show up. She just said, show up. Showing up is half the battle. I know sometimes it's hard because we do have a lot of things going on. And we try to support one another as much as we can. We try not to double book stuff on the same day, but sometimes I know it's hard. But just having people show up is what actually fuels these young people to feel appreciated, supported, and seen. Also, you can contact any of the schools. If you realize that we're not in your kid's school, you can contact the school and just do a simple request. We have some contracts that have not been finished, they're coming soon. Bremerton is one of them, so I keep getting that question, Bremerton is coming. Any other questions? Yes.
More of a statement, but anyway, my name is Dyke, and I just want to say that I'm really ecstatic and about this whole process, especially in the community of Kitsap, where, our demographics are smaller than this, opposed to King County. And seeing the work that you guys are doing, and the lady before you, Ms. Williams, to serve our community, right? It's so huge, it's monumental, especially, my son, he's 19, and he went to North Kitsap, and if these type of things were availed to him at that time, during his coming up through North Kitsap, it would have had a monumental, profound change on things that transpired there. And so I'm just glad to see that that we're being recognized and focused. And I saw you guys at the Color Museum. You guys did outstanding. You know what I mean? And I'm just really proud of what you guys are doing for not just us, but primarily us. So I really respect and dig that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we've had offers to reproduce the play, but it costs money. So if you hear of any money laying around, throw it our way. Anything else? No? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Give them another round of applause. Great work. I'm telling you. Can't even stand up. Moving on. This next individual that I'm going to introduce stepped in. I can say he stepped in and stepped up. Dr. Crawford, we crossed paths. And then when I finally got to sit down and talk to him, someone who truly cares. Again, communities and our kids, the education portion of it, the inclusion portion of it all. Dr. Crawford, didn't hold back. The fact that he's seen something with the schools that needed to be fixed, and he came out to the community. And when he did that, he educated the community as to why they got the support that he needed to get that bond levy through. And we responded. He's going to change things. He's going to shake things up. But he's the right person in the right position for the right job to do the right thing for the right reasons. My kids, I can honestly say, because of the things that I've learned, thank you. Your educators, your counselors really changed my son's path, his life. And I can't say enough. But this is you and your staff. This is you and what you do in your leadership to continue this. You got us off on the right foot. You take us in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to see what's coming next. With that, Dr. James Crawford.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to stand before you today and discuss the theme of unity. That's not only timely, but it's also timeless. As we gather here today, we are united by a common belief in the power of education to transform lives. And with those lives, we bridge divides, we foster a sense of belonging and community. And what's interesting is that in a world that is increasingly fragmented and polarized, the role of education in building unity has never been more critical than it is today. And it's in our schools, the very heart of communities, where this important work must begin. So this year, our school district began planting seeds. And throughout the year, we've intentionally watered those seeds, as you just heard, cultivating them to their first sprouts. We proudly began the process of developing a new strategic plan, one that has not been in Bremerton ever for our school district. And it was crafted with extensive input from various stakeholders, educators, parents, students, community leaders. That roadmap is not merely a document, but it's also our commitment. It's our promise to advance educational excellence and promote equity. It is to prepare every student for success in a very rapidly changing world. And it underscores our resolve to not only educate, but also to inspire and to empower each and every one of our youth in our schools. We also elevated student voice in examining their world through technology and data and research, making understanding policy and democracy in reforming their school communities. We delved into the complexities of cell phone use, challenges of addiction, and importance of developing healthy coping mechanisms. We partnered with our community. One important partnership was the integration of financial literacy programs in our after-school programming. Our community leaders are helping prepare our students for personal success, but they're also helping to instill a sense of fiscal responsibility and empowerment through our AVID program. We achieved unprecedented success, garnered statewide recognition for the first time in many years. Our athletic programs have not only excelled in competition, but they've also embodied the spirit of teamwork, perseverance, and sportsmanship, values that transcend the playing field, and also resonate throughout our community. And those achievements have ignited a sense of pride and unity, showcasing the potential of young athletes and the dedication of our coaches today. And then last, the recent passage of a bond and levy. Those represent milestones in our collective commitment to build a stronger educational infrastructure for our schools, making sure, particularly those on the east side that are most impacted by poverty and happen to be our most diverse schools, are going to be rebuilt. That achievement is a testament to the trust and support of our community and affirming a shared investment in the future of our children. The vision of unity we aspire to achieve isn't merely the absence of conflict or division. True unity is really characterized by a deep sense of interconnectedness, and you've heard that today. Mutual respect and also a shared purpose. It's about recognizing that we have common humanity, where we celebrate diversity and working together towards a brighter and more equitable future for all. And as educators and community leaders, we have a profound responsibility to instill those values in our youth, the future architects of our society. And we have to teach them not only the academic skills that they need to succeed, but also the social-emotional skills that they need to thrive in a compassionate and an engaged community. But to do that, we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in our children, and we have to believe in our community. And I'd like to read a short story called Busting Loose. It's a story that I read to our strategic planning teams this year. And it's a short story that provides powerful insight into sports that has enabled many of our athletes and teams to suddenly bust loose into dramatic achievements this year that they've never dreamed possible before. The story of the elephant. The elephant is the strongest athlete in the animal kingdom. But if you've ever gotten backstage at a circus, you'll notice something very strange about the way that trainers keep elephants tied up. Wrapped around the leg of the little baby elephant will be a great big chain. But wrapped around the leg of the huge adult elephant will be a little flimsy rope. The elephant trainer will tell you that after a few months of training against a big chain, the baby elephant will finally give up. After that, the trainer can replace the big strong chain with a weak little rope, and the elephant never knows the difference. Even though the adult elephant could snap the rope with one mighty tug on his foot, he never even tries. Why? Because the long months struggling against the chain have conditioned and convinced him to believe that it's impossible. The story of the flea. Believe it or not, the common flea is the greatest jumping athlete in the animal world. A jump of 3 feet by a tiny flea is the same as a jump of 1 full mile by a human being. If you've ever had the chance to see trained fleas, you know that somehow the trainer has taught these little bugs to stay within a very small area on an open tabletop and to limit their jumps to only 2 or 3 inches in height. The fleas can easily jump 3 or 4 feet off the table and get away, but they seldom do. That's because the trainer has kept them locked up in a small box with 3-inch ceilings. And every time the fleas try to jump out of the box, they crash into the ceiling 3 inches above. Soon the fleas become trained, just like the elephants. They begin to believe that 2 or 3 inches is as high as they could ever possibly jump. And from then on, even when the trainer removes them from the box, the fleas will never try and jump any higher. The story of the barracuda. As a fish, the barracuda is one of the fiercest athletes in the animal kingdom. He's swift, powerful, confident. In an experiment, scientists put a big barracuda and a little mackerel together in the same fish tank. The barracuda immediately swam over and ate the mackerel for dinner. Then the scientists put another mackerel in the tank, only this time they put a clear plastic divider between the mackerel and the barracuda. Every time the barracuda tried to swim over to the mackerel, he'd bump his nose against the invisible plastic shield. And for 2 days, the frustrated barracuda tried and failed to get to the mackerel. Finally, confused and hungry, he gave up. At that point, the scientists removed the shield, leaving the barracuda a clear path to the frightened mackerel. But the barracuda knew better. He knew from his experience that it was impossible for him to swim to the other side. Imagine barracuda's surprise when the scientists dropped a second barracuda in the water, which immediately swam over and gulped down the tasty mackerel. The moral is really the same in all 3 stories. Very often, the only things that hold a person or a team back are imaginary obstacles. Like the elephant, the flea, and the barracuda, we've sometimes been trained and conditioned to limit our own potential. For instance, if we do poorly at a sport when we're very young, we sometimes give up on that sport completely, thinking that we're bound to continue doing poorly even when we're older. If people tell us over and over that we're too small, or we're too slow, or we're too clumsy to play a certain sport, we may eventually believe it and act like it. If we believe the newspapers when they say that our team is a 21-point underdog, we might just live up to that prediction and lose the game. If girls accept the opinion they can't do well in a certain sport, sure enough, they might not even try. If the record books ever convince us that human beings can't run any faster, they can't jump any higher, or swim any further, then we will never again be able to break the records. And like the elephant, if we don't believe that we can break the rope, we won't. Like the flea, if we don't believe that we can jump any higher, we won't. And like the barracuda, if we don't believe that we can swim to the other side, we won't. The success of being Bremerton has always been that we bust loose when we realize that many of our former limitations were imaginary, or they were imposed, or they were intended to keep us in our place. What we've learned is that busting loose is easier than we think. The concept of belief goes a long, long way. Belief and unity require a collective effort, a partnership between schools, families, and community organizations like the NAACP. And by working together, we can amplify our impact, and we can ensure that our efforts are sustained and far-reaching. And as we look to the future, let us be guided by the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who reminded us that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all of us indirectly. In this spirit of interconnectedness, let us renew our commitment to building a community that is united in its diversity and strengthened by its inclusivity, and enriched by all of us in this room and beyond. In closing, I just want to express my deepest gratitude to the NAACP Mission Outreach Program. I want to just thank all of you for being here. You being here is really a testament for advancing justice and equality for all people, regardless of where you come from, what zip code you have your home in, the color of your skin, your sexuality, your gender. None of that matters in a space like this. We get a chance to see one another and be with one another. So thank you for supporting our schools, and I look forward, Jewel, I look forward to our partnerships ahead. So appreciate you all.
Does anybody feel like busting loose right now? Okay. Minister Ruth Francis Jones. Thank you.
Robert, you started that whole name business that day.
I'm sorry.
Whole name.
Yeah, you did. I'm just following suit.
But that would be me. How to reach the masses, men of every birth, for an answer. Jesus is the key. And if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. Lift him up. Lift him up till he speaks from eternity. He said, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw men unto me. Oh, the world is hungry for the living bread. Lift the Savior up for them to see. Trust Him and do not doubt the words that He said. He'll draw all men unto me. Oh, lift Him up. Lift him up till he speaks from eternity. He said, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. Oh, lift him up. Lift him up till he speaks from eternity. He said, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me.
Woo. Thank you. That was beautiful. Moving on, this next individual, it's like I know everybody that's coming up. But see, that's what community is. I mean, this is what this is all about. This next individual, I can't even say enough because.
Oh, you can't.
The energy that she brings and the love for community and the understanding and the information package that she provides to ensure that everyone gets the same piece of information across the board, and then support so that if you can't do it, then she'll try everything she can to ensure that you can do it. Jessica, you're awesome. You have answered questions with me. You've inspired me at certain times. Your energy is just, I wish I could say it sometimes because you're there. But you're always there for the community. You bring that same energy level to the community to ensure that this community is engaged, involved, and understands exactly what is coming to them and what they need to face together as a whole. But you're there to lead and support that. And I thank you. And with that, guys, Jessica Guidry.
That was probably one of the most amazing and undeserved introductions I've ever had. Shannon, thank you. By the way, he's doing an amazing job as MC. And so if you don't forget, you know who to call. Yes. And Shannon, you've also inspired me about, we talked about the switching earlier. So Robert, I'm not gonna use my slides. I'm so sorry. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, oh, I've got these slides. I want to present data. I'm like, I'm just gonna throw it out the window. But before I do that, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Jessica Guidry. I am the Assistant Community Health Director at the Health District. So at the Health District, our Community Health Division includes our Chronic Disease and Injury Prevention Program, our Communicable Disease Program, and our Parent-Child Health Program. It's an amazing group of folks. And what's awesome is that we have the word community in our division. We've got environmental health and other stuff, and I'm like, you know what, we've got community in our title. I've had this job now since about November or so. Before that, I was the Health District's first equity program manager. And one thing I'm really excited to say is that the Health District was one of the first entities, governmental entities in Kitsap County to have an equity program. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. It's something that has really humbled me because I've had to be, you know, Shannon, to your comments, the equity work was really scary, right? Before I did other work where I was in the office most of the time. The equity work really not forced me, but it really opened my eyes to having to be in community. And when being asked the tough questions, having that thought of, am I just gonna be, like this Mayor Wheeler, but like some government officials who are just like, oh, I'm not gonna answer that, we do a good job. I really had to think about what I wanna see in government and the humility that needs to happen and the acknowledgement and the listening. And a lot of that I learned from you all. So I really wanna give you kudos for that. And I'm totally going off script. So at the Health District, our mission is to prevent disease and to promote and protect the health for all people in Kitsap County. Our vision, the goal, that the destination we're going towards is for everyone in Kitsap County to live, it's for Kitsap County to be a safe and healthy place for all in Kitsap. Now, Kitsap County is a wonderful place to live, but not everyone in Kitsap County is able to have the opportunity to live in a safe and healthy place. And I just want to highlight a couple of inequities. And I'm using the word inequity intentionally. Before I started doing work in equity, I used the word disparity. And I just want to kind of highlight the differences. Disparities are really like differences in health, right? So I might be able to say something like, older adults tend to have more falls than folks in their 20s. That is a difference that we can expect due to aging, if that makes sense. So it's kind of an expected kind of difference. And inequity is a difference due to injustice. These are differences in health that shouldn't be. There is no biological reason why we have these differences. They're often due to systemic oppression, systemic inequities, racism, discrimination, things that we have no control over. They're outside of our day-to-day. And often when we look at people and their health, we blame them, oh, you don't exercise enough, you don't eat right. But there are things outside of our control with health. But there are two inequities that I want to highlight. So the first one is that in Kitsap County, just like in communities across the country, there are differences, inequities, in birth outcomes by race and ethnicity and geography. And I'll mention some examples. So in Kitsap County, among Black and African American babies, there are higher rates of premature birth, babies born at low birth weight, and infant mortality. There's no biological reason why that has to be. When it comes to mental health needs, there are differences by age and gender, and for youth by sexual orientation. I'll give a couple of examples. For our youth who are transgender, questioning, or identify as an identity other than male or female, they report higher rates of experiencing bullying, not having anyone to talk to, experiencing depressive feelings, seriously considering suicide, and attempting suicide. There's no biological reason that this has to be this way. And even when we think about our youth who identify as female, they report being bullied more frequently, experiencing depressive feelings, seriously considering suicide, or attempting suicide, more than youth who identify as white. These are inequities, and there's no biological reason for this. These are systemic issues. And I feel really weird talking about inequities when this is an uplifting event, and especially after hearing Mr. Jones sing and all the comments. But to me, recognizing these inequities is what keeps me going. And the fight for equity is unifying. It does bring community together. And so that's just what I want to highlight. And it's something that has really inspired me at the health district. And no, I'll have to be really upfront, no organization is perfect, but there are a couple of initiatives I'm really excited about that I would like to share with you all. And I also have a request or a call to partner when it comes to addressing some of these inequities. So at the health district, so full disclosure, I've been at the health district almost 16 years. I didn't have any white hair. When I started the health district, didn't have kids, felt really young and full of, Shannon talks about full of energy. I was really full of energy then. Now kind of questionable, but our workforce is more diverse than it has to be, right? Which is awesome in and of itself, but it also means that we have more work to do to help our employees feel more included. Something that I'm hearing more of now than I ever heard is when we're in our hiring practices, when we talk about candidates. I was in an interview panel a couple of weeks ago, and I heard folks talking about, hey, these candidates have, the right skill sets and the right experience, but these other candidates, they're a culture add, not a culture fit, if that makes sense. To me, there's a difference. I know, when we often talk about culture fit, you want people to kind of conform and be part of the same team, right? But a culture add means they bring a different lived experience, a different perspective, and we reflect our community more that way. And it's so exciting to see that we have employees with different identities now. I see more people talking about gender identity, but we're not there yet. We still have a lot of room to improve, but even that is pretty amazing. At the health district, we also really emphasize language access. So yes, we have access to a telephonic interpreter service. It's something we're really proud of. And we have intentionally and also been really privileged to have folks who are bilingual on our staff. It's something we invest in, and it's something we really prioritize. So earlier this week, I got to meet one of our new secretary clerks who's bilingual, English, Spanish. And I was telling this new person, her name is Yolanda. Yolanda, it's so exciting to me that you speak Spanish, because when folks come into the health district, let's say they need to get a birth certificate, and they see someone there at the front desk who, when they automatically knows that the person needs to speak Spanish, they speak Spanish. Having access to the phone is great, but being able to see someone in person who can speak your language, who can explain things and take that time, who actually understand the public health topics, is huge. So that language access. And what's exciting is that we have bilingual employees in various programs, our equity program. A lot of you know Maria, bilingual, and our nurse family partnership program, and our communicable disease program. So it's not just only HIV program. It's not just our front desk staff. We really have an amazing cadre of bilingual individuals. We're also looking at translating our materials more. And we do differentiate between interpretation and translation. While we're not at the point that I'm hoping to be in terms of everything, for example, being available in Spanish, more documents are. More of our content social media. We are making progress in that aspect. Also in the words that we use. As someone who's gone to school for public health, I love my public health terminology. I love to talk about epidemiology, surveillance, blah, blah, blah. But we are also looking at more inclusive language. So you may have heard me say, people who identify as, when we talk about parenting individuals, we don't say pregnant moms anymore, which I know can cause some controversy. We do this though to be more inclusive, to understand that we have such beautiful diversity and different experiences in our community. We need to be more inclusive in our language. We also need to use more plain language. Sometimes we hide in our technical speak. We need to stop that. It might take us more words to speak more clearly, but then let's use those extra words. So instead of saying, practice good respiratory etiquette, wash your hands, cover your cough, So using that clear language, right? That's really important. And something that the health district has done more now than ever is being out in the community.
We have more team members now who go to community events, who participate in community like work groups and committees than we ever had before. So when I started the health district 16 years ago, we had a group of folks who were the health promotion team and they went to events. But now we've got outreach folks and our, our nursing family partnership program and our communicable disease program and our equity program and all these, we now have an outreach specialist who now has to kind of keep track of, what everyone is doing. And it's exciting because as we've heard earlier, actually physically being out in the community, so like me when I see you out at events, that makes a difference. Actually, and Dr. Crawford, same experience. Y'all being able to see your public health folks out there answering questions, even during COVID, when we were talking about vaccinations, when it was incredibly unpopular and we knew we were gonna get chewed out, we still showed up. And there's still spaces where we need to show up more, but it's something that I'm just really proud of. And how we've talked about, it's not just outreach, it's not just giving out materials. We need to engage community. We need to actually ask for input. And I'm seeing a lot more of that. Our different programs, like for example, our substance use prevention and response team, they're building their opioid work. We've only started getting funding really for opioid work late last year. They're doing a community needs assessment. Gabby Outlaw Spencer, I'm gonna point out Gabby right here. She is developing a Black infant health program. This is something I never thought would happen at the health district, but it took a very visionary leader, I would also say a leader of color, to say, hey, this is a problem, let's do something about it. And so we've got Gabby, so excited, Gabby's been with us since September. She has been looking at best practices, talking to community leaders, and she's gonna be building a Black infant health program that is community informed. So it's not just government saying, hey, we looked at the literature, this is what you think you all need. That's not how we, right? That's not really how we do things, right? We need to get community input. So we're doing some really great things, and I would like to talk about the equity program. So our equity program was founded because of community. So early in the COVID, at the beginning of the vaccination efforts, we hired a vaccine equity liaison. Her name was Holly Bolstad. And she went to different community meetings to talk about, hey, it's important to vaccinate, let's get our folks, our community members into vaccine clinics. And she got asked, so the health district, you say that you're really for equity, but other public health agencies across the country are declaring racism a public health crisis. Why won't you? So she brought that to our leadership. Now, mind you, this was asked about half a year earlier and no momentum. But because of the fact that we saw in COVID, those inequities, we knew that health inequities existed. But the fact that we saw people not trusting government because of what government did to them, not wanting to get vaccinated, not wanting to go see their doctor, that caught our attention. So our administrator at the time was a white male. When he heard that, he goes, okay, let's see what we can do. Why don't you draft us a resolution and we'll bring it to our public health board. And it passed unanimously, which is pretty amazing considering, and actually Mary Lou was part of that. He can let y'all know if I'm exaggerating. But we don't have like a one-party public health board. I'll say it that way, right? Very different opinions, which is amazing. But they passed it. And in that resolution, it didn't just say that racism causes health inequities. It also says, here's what the health district is going to do about it. And one of the items, I think there were about 10 or so commitments. And one of the commitments was that we would hire a community liaison to advance the work. So we went even beyond that. We said we are going to develop a program, and we're going to first start with a program manager. I ended up applying and was just really fortunate to be able to get the job. We've developed an equity program. We have Maria, who's our community engagement specialist. We are out in the community, and we've built this group called the Health Equity Collaborative. Because again, in the resolution, there's a line item that says that we will co-create solutions to systemic inequities with community partners. And we took that really seriously. We thought, okay, what does that mean? Do we create a, I don't want to say typical coalition where we give them objectives and they fill it. So with our Health Equity Collaborative, we bring representatives from various organizations together, and we let them drive what we discuss. And we run the meetings very differently. We have set time for networking. We don't pack our agendas because often, the way I was taught, you put as many items on agenda, you have people, you don't have them speak as much, and just get things done. But in these meetings, we really set time to really build relationship. And there are people who, to be honest, don't work really well together, who will come to those meetings and have really fruitful conversations. And it's been tremendous to see. And our collaborative members have been showing up. They showed up for our strategic planning. We had an input session with our collaborative members. They showed up. We've been working on our community health improvement plan. Several collaborative members have shown up. And it just really shows, though, when community knows that you take them seriously, they take you seriously, and they show up. And what's exciting about our equity program, it's not grant funded. A few years ago, I was talking with Akuye Karen Vargas, and I've known Akuye for years. And we were talking about, so Holly, this vaccine equity liaison, so she left the health district, and actually her position was being eliminated due to funding. And Akuye looked at me, we were having a goodbye lunch for Holly. She was like, Jessica, you know, in government, when you all need something, when you all need to do community outreach and reach, communities that are marginalized, you come to community and we labor for you. We do work with you. But then when you lose your grant funding, you're gone. And that devastated me because it didn't occur to me because from my perspective, that grant funding is gonna move on to the next topic. But community remembers. And the fact that our program is not grant funded, we fund it through our own local dollars, really makes that difference because it really shows you can tell a lot about an organization about what they pay for, right, and what they prioritize, and so we have that dedicated equity program. So a lot of amazing things going on. I also mentioned, I was at the Police and Community Together meeting a couple of nights ago, and there was a question about naloxone and cabinets. So at the health district, we're working on that. Not on the cabinets, that's actually a Salish behavioral health organization, but like I mentioned, we're building our opioid response activities and prevention. And we have a trainer, Kayla Moontree, very trauma-informed, who provides training on naloxone, who only known as Narcan, and how to administer it. So keep in mind, if you have questions about that, please reach out. So these are some great things that the health district are doing. We've got the collaborative, which I'm really proud of. We're also doing our community health improvement plan. Some of you may have heard of it. It's KCHIP is the acronym, so Kids Up Community Health Priorities. Every 5 years, we do a community health assessment. Actually, my binder, it's actually over 100 pages long of data. A lot of statistics, there's some stories in there as well. But from that report, we then bring community partners together and we look at all the data and then we say, okay, well, what do we want to prioritize working on in the next 5 years? So right now, we are currently in the process of building our new community health improvement plan. We brought partners together last September to look at all this data. In January, we identified priorities. We identified 3 not so easy priorities to address. Health and housing, mental health and substance use disorder, and access to healthcare. And through this community work plan, while it's facilitated by the health district is not going to do all the work. We really need to do this together. And so we're going to be building this work plan that said, okay, together we're doing this, and here's how we're going to measure it. And then in a few years, here's what we're going to report on it, figure out what we're going to do next. And this community work plan does not replace strategic plans. Dr. Crawford mentioned, the Bremerton School District had their strategic plan. All these organizations have their plans, but this is how community will come together and work on things together. So with that, I think I'm going to close with just a request. We don't know what we don't know, right? And really, we need to hear from our community about what y'all are concerned about. We might see the statistics, in terms of, okay, we might see rates of low birth weight here, or we may see like obesity rates here, but you all give us the context. Because I can tell you I can't tell you the numbers. Colleagues can tell you the numbers about, the rates of certain things, but you all can tell us a story about why. So I really ask that you all can partner with us. If you have concerns about the health of the community, reach out. And you are more than welcome to reach out to me. My email address is jessica.guidry. Dee's from Louisiana, she probably knows how to spell Guidry. Guidry is Guidry at kidsup.publichealth.org, but you can also reach out to Gabby, Maria, some of you may know Martita. We have a lot of Kids Up Public Health folks who reach out to folks. Please, join us. And also, please invite us. There's so much we've been in the community for a long, long time, but there's still a lot that we need to learn. So please do invite us to your events. Do educate us on what our community needs. so we can be stronger together. And with that, I'm happy to take questions. Oh, Joe!
I don't have a question, I was just gonna say thank you for all the work that you do and the leadership. Me personally, you and Maria have come in, volunteered, like made connections for us, introduced us to people, found funding for us, like even held, I remember at our first event that we ever had, the welcome back, kickback, and I literally just handed her the binder, and I was like, I need your help. And she did everything, like made sure that we had first aid, people there. I thank you, I can't say it enough. And then also, all of the resources that are there at Kids at Public Health. We held, I think it was Self-Care Friday, and we had, wanted to talk to the students about COVID again at the beginning of last school year, or this school year. Because there was this weird rumor that you can't get COVID more than one time. And so, yeah, I know. It was a weird rumor. But anyhow, we were able to contact Kids at Public Health and have someone come in and talk to the students. It actually was really fun. We did trivia. We talked about what sources to actually, that are good sources to use when you're Googling things on the internet. And so I just wanted to say thank you in front of this community of people that you all do what you say you are actually doing the work that you say you do. So, Kids That Like Standing Against Us, thank you.
Oh, yes, please.
Well, my name is Dyke, and so first of all, I just want to say, thank you for the information provided and being here and all the things that you guys do. Because I never put much thought and emphasis into what you guys do at the health district. I just assumed you guys handed out a food handler permit. That was not like the other extent of my office, what you guys do down there. So that's cool to hear all these different things you got going on. But my question is so what do you call, what is your guys' term for a pregnant mother?
So to be honest, it depends on who we're talking to, right? Because with some communities, saying pregnant mom may make more sense culturally speaking. When we're communicating to the broad audience, we typically say pregnant individuals. But like I mentioned, this is something we struggle with, and especially when we consider how motherhood is so sacred in so many communities and how women have been oppressed in so many different communities. It's a challenge for us, and it's something that we kind of handle on a case-by-case basis, if that makes sense.
Right, understood.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because you could give an example of a person who might be birthing for somebody else, who may not say that they're a mom, they are pregnant for someone else. That's a good example.
Right, okay.
But I can also appreciate that sometimes when we get too politically correct, things can also lose their meaning as well. But that's where, if we're in community and we understand what resonates with folks, then we use the terminology that makes sense.
Right, I just didn't know what another term would be for, right?
Yeah, well, I'll give you another example we struggle with, and I'm so sorry, Shannon, I said I was done, I'm never truly done. But even when we use the term breastfeeding, so now we have to talk about breast, we also say breast, chest feeding, or we just say infant feeding. And the reason why I like infant feeding is because for the individuals who are unable to breast or chest feed because of latching issues or anything else, just saying feeding your baby just really makes a lot of sense too.
Right.
So I think it really depends on context.
Right, gotcha. Thank you for that.
Oh,
I just
yes.
wanted to comment real quick. You were really kind to us to clarify the difference between inequity and disparity. And I wanted to clarify for you the difference between keep it real event with uplifting moments, which I think what we're having here, and an uplifting event with keep it real moments, which is what you were apologizing for interrupting. We need you to keep it real for us. Uplifting events aren't going to solve our problems. So thank you.
And that is our public health district at its best. When you think that they're not there, they're there. I mean, again, you guys show up, walk, talk, just putting out there, and you're literally making sure that we're included thank you for that. Okay. Moving on. You know what? Let's take a couple minutes. Everybody stand up, stretch. Because I know you've been sitting there, you got a little numbness going on or whatnot, you know, get those little quirks out.
Saw that, right?
But, you know, they supposed to be. Okay, all right, let's go back and take our seats if we can. And while we're taking our seats, I want to go ahead and make this announcement here. First, I want to thank the Admiral Theater for showing Black History Night that they provided for us last month. Yeah, I missed that, right? So just keep that going. And then a couple announcements here. We have the Juneteenth Resource Fair that's coming in June of 2024, and the NAACP Freedom Fund Bank, September 14th of 2024 as well. So with that, the next individuals I want to invite up is the Northwest 04 Risings. Now, I would say, and Angela and Augie came on, and I know you guys are awesome. What you're doing, the reasons why you're doing it, and how you're doing it is truly amazing. This is just a portion of their mission statement. Their mission is to provide advocacy, education, and resources to promote the well-being of youth and families in need. We believe that creating a community that values diversity and celebrates differences, they can create a world where all individuals have the support they need to succeed. Again, community. You guys represent it, and very inclusive, very upfront, and you're welcome. Your arms are open for whoever walks through your doors. And I want to say thank you. And you guys are going to have truly awesome success. And with that, I would like to bring up Augie and Angela.
My name's Augie.
I'm Andy. I'm Angela. First of all, I just want to thank everybody who's here. So many of the individuals who are in this room today and the organizations that are in this room today have helped us be where we're at today. And I am so blessed for that opportunity. The support from this community has been amazing. Starting a nonprofit from scratch is no easy venture, and it comes with many challenges. So thank you all for the support that you've provided us in our journey. So as Shannon stated, we believe in equity, we believe in community, we believe in diversity. And our focus is working with LGBTQIA+ and BIPOC youth, as well as allied youth here in Kitsap County. We saw a need, we met a need. As an LGBTQIA identifying family and parents of 2 LGBTQIA identifying youth, we really saw a need. Our youth didn't have places to go when they faced oppression, when they faced challenges, when they needed a safe place to go. Most of those resources diminished come COVID. So we saw a need, we're meeting a need. We launched just last year, getting our 501c3 in June of 2023. And starting January this year, we started our first group. We have 9 youth, half which identify as BIPOC, and 2 that are transgender, multiple that are individuals that identify as just allied youth, and then other individuals that are non-binary. We are all inclusive and embracing. We're working on providing groups that educate them in independent living skills, empowerment, encouragement, youth voice, lifting it up, being part of the community, and what does their community look like, and what does safe space mean to them? Because to say I'm creating a safe space is ignorant for me, because I don't know what safe means to other people in this room or the youth I serve. They get to choose what that safe space looks like and means to them by being able to have a say in the organization we run. We also believe in getting their voices lifted up in the community by joining hands with other organizations. So just this last weekend, we hosted a resource fair in Bremerton at Our Savior's Lutheran Church. And we had 19 different nonprofit organizations present, which we were able to network with and join hands with, because we can't do this alone. I might serve a youth who identifies as LGBTQIA, but they need mental health resources. I'm a mental health counselor, and I bring that into my space in the work that I do with my passion. But I can't meet everybody's single need, so I need to get them where they belong, where their needs are met. Connecting to Coffee Oasis so that they have case management services for housing and jobs and education. And so many more organizations that were there, such as the Health District and Peninsula Community Health, and so many more. So we are just continuing the work that we're doing. In April, we'll be launching our second group, and we'll be continuing this work in our mentorship. We run groups twice a week at Tracington United Methodist Church. And we will be bringing on more leaders as we continue to grow our program, having representation, which includes my son, who will be getting his peer support certification come April. And
so I'm Andy. As you heard, I am a transgender individual myself. I use he, him pronouns, and I really wanted to make a change in the community after me myself came out as transgender in middle school. And even though I saw Washington as an open and welcoming place, I faced bullying, and I ended up becoming a statistic of a transgender individual facing suicidal ideation. I want to help other youth not become a statistic, because no matter what you see online, Next Benedict was not a statistic. We will not become the next statistic.
And that is why we do what we do. Next Benedict was a young individual, 16 years old, who faced brutality at their school because they were forced to use the bathroom of their birth gender. And they had been bullied and oppressed because of their identity as a non-binary youth. They entered a bathroom and they were beaten. And they died within 24 hours of that beating that occurred in the school. This did not happen in Kitsap County. This did not happen in Washington State. But our youth that face different diversities and gender identity face the reality that they don't know when they're not going to be safe. So having a place where they feel like their voice is lifted up and they feel connected and they have a sense of belonging is extremely important to us. Thank you.
How are you able to overcome it? Like really just keep doing what you do, like judging, just looking at your phone. Like how are you able to deal with that?
So it took me a while to figure that out. Like I said, I came out in middle school, so I was 12 and I was exploring my gender identity. And of course, there are ignorant middle schoolers, like they're middle schoolers. So for me, I had to kind of just look at them and go, hey, I know who I am. And no matter what you say, that's not going to change that. And as I've grown as a person, and now physically transitioning, I can flat out say, I am a transgender man, and no matter what you say, you will never change me.
glad that you didn't, go through with the suicide or ideation or whatever. And I'm glad you're here. And you matter, your life matters. And it's very important that your voice is heard. And my question though is, what does the IA stand for?
So the I stands for intersex, which is anybody who was born not fitting the male-female sex. So it can be hormonally, it can be reproductive organs of having both internal female reproductive organs, yet external male reproductive organs. And then the a lot of people have talked about the different things. It can be an asexuality, not having sexual attraction, aromantic, not having romantic attraction, or a gender which is identifying as something that is not male or female, something that does not fit in binary.
Thank you guys. Keep it up. Okay. Moving along, we have, everybody knows Carl. Everybody knows Carl. The fact that Carl, NAACP is just in him. The history. I mean, he's sharp. The knowledge, just the dates, and the passion that he brings when he speaks. It's just, you listen. You listen. And Carl, I have so much respect for you and admiration because, you stood along the NAACP and you provide and you're there supporting regardless. It doesn't matter. And you tell the tale. And with that, we have Carl Jenkins.
Well, Shannon, thank you for the nice introduction there, and thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here. Can you all? Okay, can you hear me better now?
There we go! Switched it up.
Sorry about that. But, Shannon, thank you for the nice introduction there. That was mighty nice of you to say those things about me. Introducing where I got involved with the NAACP and the Mission Outreach Day. The Mission Outreach Day had its origins back in the year 2000, before it had a name, as the 10th anniversary celebration of the adoption of the Namibian Constitution and the release of Nelson Mandela from prison in South Africa, which came just 2 days after the adoption of the Namibian Constitution in 1990. And it combined also as a commemoration of the People Power Revolution in the Philippines. And a few years later, there was at the Ebenezer AME Church a separate celebration of the anniversary of the Bloody Sunday Voting Rights March in Selma, Alabama. And a year after that, we decided instead of having separate events, which adds up to a lot of work, we figured that let's try to combine all 4 of these commemorations into the same celebration. So that was how the Mission Outreach Day got started. To make a long story real short, it came out of a Lutheran church and into the NAACP, but there isn't really enough time to go into that in very much detail. But now it's a NAACP Mission Outreach Day event, and it's commemorating those 4 occasions. And they are all related in that they're related to the right to vote. In the case of the People Power Revolution in the Philippines, the people who were staging the nonviolent revolt, and that was also a church-based People Power Revolution, and it's a good thing that it was. there the people had the right to vote, but when the votes were being counted, they were counted in such a way that the incumbent was certain to win. So that was, in a way of taking away the right of the people to vote because their vote was being stolen. So anyhow, that was how the Mission Outreach Day got started. And what I would like to talk about here for a few minutes is the value of the history of these revolutions and the way that they're related to each other. And one of the things that's forgotten, two of these occasions that are being forgotten, and I think they might have been deliberately forgotten. One is the anniversary of the adoption of the Namibian Constitution, and the other is the South African anti-apartheid revolution. There are a lot of historical lessons to be learned from those that are valuable right now in the current day. Some of you might have noticed, reading the news, the world news, that our South African friends are involved in diplomatic attempts to bring wars to an end all over the world. And that includes Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine, and that was the subject of a South African diplomatic initiative last summer. And that was an initiative that has somewhat stalled, but it can be revived because it led to an improved bilateral diplomatic relationship between South Africa and Ukraine. And that was a diplomatic relationship that had been kind of cool before that. And also that the South Africans are involved in the effort to bring an end to the war in Gaza between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And there, we can look at that and look at the potential solutions for that conflict, and we can see that the South African model of non-racial, non-sectarian democracy is a good fit for the solution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And the reason that it's a good fit for that is because there's an ethnic and sectarian rivalry which is perpetuating itself with each new atrocity that's being committed in that conflict. And there have been severe atrocities committed by both sides. And each atrocity from one side is an overreaction to an atrocity that has been committed by the other side. And each side has been overreacting. So there's a humanitarian crisis in Gaza that we all know about, and there's a place where a ceasefire is needed, and the ceasefire has to be policed. It won't police itself. So there's a need for outside intervention, and the South African model of non-racial, non-sectarian democracy is probably the best hope for some sort of durable peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And that would be the case whether they have a single-state solution or a two-state solution. If there's a single-state solution, they would have to have equal protection under the laws for both Jews and Palestinians. That would have to be the case there. And that would be a case where both sides there would need a kind of affirmative action protection in getting protection from the law, because both sides have been the object of persecution by the other. In South Africa, the black, mixed race, and Asian people were living under domination from the white minority. And there had not been any history of persecution of the white folks on the part of the people of color. So that's the difference between the situation that existed in South Africa at the time of the anti-apartheid revolution and the situation that exists between the Israelis and Palestinians. But even given those differences, the South African model of non-racial, non-sectarian democracy still is a good fit. And if they have a two-state solution, the same principles would work, that you would have to have special protection for the Jews living in the Palestinian state. You'd have to have special protection for the Palestinians living in the Jewish state. And they would have to have it written right into a supreme law saying that everybody was going to have equal protection. And it would probably be simpler, in my way of thinking, in a single state. But I've never been to that part of the world, so there are other people who would be able to figure out the details better than I could. But I have confidence in that statement that the principles of non-racial, non-sectarian democracy would probably work. There's another bit of history there, and that was the Namibian Constitution. That was a success story that needs to be remembered because there are some valuable lessons there, even separate from the valuable lessons from the anti-apartheid revolution in South Africa. Because the anti-apartheid revolution was the same revolution in South Africa and Namibia. Do we all know where Namibia is relative to South Africa? Anybody that does not know that? Okay, yeah, Namibia is just to the north of South Africa on the Atlantic coast of Africa. And during the time of apartheid, the South Africans were occupying Namibia, and they had the same apartheid system in effect in Namibia that they had in South Africa. Now, the reason that there's an extra lesson to be learned from the Namibian experience is this, that when the transition was made in Namibia from apartheid to democracy, it came about as a result of a diplomatic initiative jointly undertaken by the United States and the United Nations. And this diplomatic initiative was undertaken when Ronald Reagan was serving as President of the United States, and George Shultz was serving as the Secretary of State. This was back in 1988. And it was continued on to a successful conclusion in 1989 after George H.W. Bush had come into office as President of the United States, having been elected in the 1988 election, and that James Baker had stepped in as the Secretary of State. The purpose of that the diplomatic initiative was to arrange free elections in Namibia in which all races of people would be allowed to vote, which they did. And then they successfully brought that about in Namibia in November of 1989. And they elected a constituent assembly. And the constituent assembly drew up a constitution. And after the constitution was adopted by the constituent assembly, which had been elected by the people, the constituent assembly became the first parliament of the newly independent nation of Namibia. And the international community recognized that, that independence of Namibia. And Namibia formally became independent on March 21st of 1990. And the reason there's a special lesson there, because Namibia is a rather rare nation which got its start as an independent nation as a result of the United Nations initiative. That they actually don't really owe their existence as a nation to the United Nations, but they owe their independence. Well, I shouldn't say owe their independence. They came about their independence as a result of the United Nations initiative. And there's a need there for the United Nations to be actively involved. As I'm seeing it, I don't see that there's going to be a peaceful conclusion there, except by active involvement on the part of the United Nations. And it would probably have to be the United Nations that have to convene the conference that would come up with a long-term solution to end that Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Now, there's another conflict I mentioned about Putin's war in Ukraine, that the diplomatic initiative on the part of South Africa, and the world missed a good diplomatic opportunity at that time. And what happened was that when the South Africans were setting up their diplomatic initiative, they set it up so that they would have a meeting in Ukraine on one day and then a meeting with the Russian leaders in Moscow a couple of days after that. And along about that time that the South Africans were leading their delegation, because there was actually 6 African nations, but they were being led by President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, that the most effective fighting force that Putin had in Ukraine, which was the mercenary Wagner group, finally got sick and tired of the conditions that they were fighting under, because they had the feeling that nobody cared what was happening to them. And they just flat out walked off the job and went back to Russia. And their leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, had made a public statement saying that not only were the Russians not taking care of their people, but their whole pretext for going to war was a bunch of lies in the first place. That there was no reason for anybody from Russia to be fighting in that war. And the reason that I say that the world missed a good diplomatic opportunity was that there was a chance to blare out a lot of propaganda one day after another, quoting what Prigozhin had said, that the Russian soldiers had been sent to a war that had nothing to do with their national interests, and there was no reason for them to keep on fighting, and quoting the guy who was led his forces out of that war. Now, Prigozhin paid with his life for taking the troops home from that war, and for making a public statement that the war never had any basis for happening in the first place. That their leader of Russia had based the whole war on a pack of lies. So that's something that the world could still make use of to bring that war to an end. And one of the reasons that it led to improved diplomatic relations between South Africa and Ukraine, that one thing in the South African peace plan that the Ukrainians were skeptical about was a call for a ceasefire in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Now, if the ceasefire were to come about by Russian troops getting sick and tired of it and figuring that they got their lives on the line for no reason, and finding a way to walk off the job and go home, which is more easily said than done, then the war would be essentially over, and that would be the South African ceasefire. And the South African involvement in the diplomatic process would become useful. And the reason that it would be especially useful is because the South Africans had their experience from 30 years ago of making the transition from apartheid to democracy in a country that was where all the conditions were present for the whole country to fall apart. So that would come useful in an intervention to try to prevent Russia from falling apart when the Putin regime collapses. So I've got a paper with me that I left on the NAACP table, which goes into this in a little more detail. And you can pick it up if you have time to read it. It has a little bit more of the reasons why this South African involvement can be useful. And I hope that you all can pick it up and read it. And so I'm kind of running out of time a little bit. One more thing I'd like to say is that I'm glad that Kitsap Strong is involved in this event every year now, because they're a great organization. And Dee, your presentation was a great presentation, and your whole team is a great team. So having said that, I'll give it back to Shannon.
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, this, whew, I can see that. Before we go to our next beautiful selection from Ms. Jones, I want to take this time to say thank you again, Pastor Coleman, for allowing us to be here and here in St. Clair's Baptist Church. And it's, I love this. This is all. And with that, I will now turn it over to Ms. Jones.
You may build a cathedral, large or small. You may build a skyscraper, grand and tall. You may conquer all the failures of your past, but only what you do for Christ will last. Remember only what you do for Christ will last. Remember only what you do for Christ will last. Only what you do for Him will be counted in the end. Only what you do for Christ will last. Remember only what you do for Christ will last. Remember only what you do for Christ will last. Only what you do for Him will be counted in the end. Only what you do for Christ will last.
Church. Yeah. Well, we reached that point. And this next individual Judge Tracy Flood. I can't say enough about her. Someone who embodies community, someone I can call a friend, confidant, mentor, all in one. I mean, she's getting it done, she's doing it. And it's all to benefit the community and everybody within the community. Ms. Judge Flood, thank you. And your leadership, your guidance, is going to take us in a direction that I can't even say. It's a new level, and it's change. And you stand up and you're accountable. And that is something that I admire. That's something I wish that, I can take with me and do. But I'm trying to be like you, follow you, because you broke down that barrier. You broke that glass ceiling. So with that, I'm looking remarks from Ms. Judge Tracy Flood. Thank you.
It's still afternoon, so good afternoon, everyone. I know you've been here a while, so I was put on the program as closing remarks. So we're gonna close it down. But first, before we do, just some quick remarks here. Queen Latifah had a song, and it was U-N-I-T-Y. So this notion of unity has come to us in many different forms. But now I want to say to you the urgency of now. Malcolm X said, there can be no black and white unity unless there's first black unity. What does that mean? Collaborations, diversity, inclusion. But he also said that ignorance of each other's is what has made us unable to have unity. And it's made it impossible in the past. Therefore, we need enlightenment. We need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and patience creates unity. So in that same sense, that if we're looking at coming out of Black History Month and this being a mission outreach program, we're reaching out and collaborating. With that comes unity. And Mother Teresa said, together we can do great things. And we know that. I'm a testament of that. Barack Obama's election and re-election was a testament of together we can do the impossible. This is an election year. The NAACP is a civil rights organization still fighting for voting rights. Still fighting for voting rights. Your power is your voice. Your power is your vote. Don't let people fool you. Don't let people fool you. Don't relinquish your power. Pastor said on Sunday, he used the term frenemy. Friend plus enemy. We exist in a world that since COVID, there's been a highlighting focus on mental health. But be aware that there is so much work to be done. Don't get so caught up that you don't recognize your frenemies. we have to be intentional in what we're doing, how we're doing it, when we're doing it. Today's messages brought a lot of information to you. I hope you soaked it up. I hope you enjoyed the program. But it's important to be intentional. People will present themselves on paper, in person. And the one thing you have to notice, most jobs have a probation period. It usually takes a person about 2 years to perfect that position, even with experience, because you're learning new, you're wanting to make changes, you're wanting to do things. And it's important to remember, as Pastor said, freedom. In addition, and in closing, my closing remarks. You know, Marvin Gaye's song, What's Going On, is still relevant today.
Yes.
The words were prophetic then, they're prophetic now. And any of you who know Fred Hammond, he says, no weapon formed against me. In his song, no weapon. No weapons. There's a lot going on here on the front here in America. There's a lot of things that we don't see here in Washington in our area because of relationships and being intentional and having a government system. While there's two-party systems, they work together. You don't see that a lot in the South, in places like Tennessee. But in order to maintain that and continue to grow, we have to be intentional. With that, enjoy the rest of your evening. It is 4:55. Quick the clock. We want to be out on time. I'm about.
We got one more thing, so.
Gonna hand the mic over to someone else before I dismiss you. But I'm gonna bring up President Harris if he has closing remarks, or our MC. I'm not sure who's gonna do the.
No, Shannon's doing a great job.
The benediction, because it's mission outreach. Pastor, I think I'm handing the mic to you.
One more time for the NAACP President Harris. Let's thank God for him. Of course, all of the Jones, all the different groups in our community. Glad you were able to be here today. Service started at 11 o'clock tomorrow. If you'd like to be in service, okay? I'll be able to have a witness right there. Amen.
Amen.
Come on, let's bow your head in a moment of prayer. Father, thank you again for this day. It is the day that you made, and so we do rejoice. Thank you for all of these people who have come today and represent different organizations within our community. Thank you for the NAACP, who continues to be an arm of extension to be able to bring people together for unity. Thank you for all of those who are here. Thank you for those who wanted to be here today. Give us traveling mercy and grace to go back to our destination. We honor you, we love you, we thank you. We ask it all in Jesus Christ's name we do pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Give somebody a high five on your way out. Tell them God bless you.
Hey, everybody, I just want to make one quick announcement before you guys get out here. So, there's organizations working to preserve historical. It's okay. Y'all can hear me, right? Yes, y'all can hear me. We're working with some organizations to help preserve Black history information, not only here in Kitsap County, but around the state. There's some events that's going to be happening in April and May. I'll be putting that information on our NAACP Facebook site, and I'll be shooting it out to the organizations to share. So just keep your eyes out for that. So, I gotta give a shout out to Miss Okuye Karen Vargas for procuring all this information. I had a chance to view it over the weekend, and it was just incredible the amount of information that she has gathered. Almost 2 roomfuls of Black history information just here in Kitsap County, going back hundreds of years. I mean, amazing amount of information. So we're gonna try to reach out to some organizations over here to see if we can't get that back over here in Kitsap County. Right now, she's having a story over again in Tacoma, which just ain't right. I mean, that's our history here in this county. We should have it here. We should have a facility so we can display, and everybody should be able to share it. So we're going to be working on that, over the next year. Thank you. Now y'all can have, but if you want to grab yourself some food, please do. And there's some tables, I need some